And welcome, everybody, to another Mark Bishop show. We're celebrating National Small Business Week. It runs every year, April 28th to May 4th. And for more than 60 years, the Small Business Administration has celebrated National Small Business Week. And it's to acknowledge the critical contributions of America's entrepreneurs and small business owners, serving more than 850,000 small businesses across all industries. ADP has a unique view into this important population and the issues that are top of mind for small business owners. Now, according to a new ADP Market Pulse study, one-third of small businesses surveyed cited growing their business as the top challenge that they're currently facing. So with all this in mind, our special guest is Erron Stark. He's Vice President and General Manager for Small Business Services, ADP. Welcome, Erron. How are you?
I am excellent, Mark. Hopefully the same for you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, they're the salt of the earth, mate. I mean, small business owners, they're the first to feel, and I'm one of them, first to feel the impact of economic changes like wages and inflation, but driving this healthy cash flow through programs like available tax credits can help, no doubt. So would that be top of mind for small business owners right now, Erron?
It certainly is, Mark. And when you think about growing their business, it usually is compartmentalized in three areas. And you're touching on one of them, which is regulatory changes. And a lot of times that's viewed as something that might be a hurdle, but they could also present significant opportunities for the small business community. You think about research and development tax credits, work opportunity tax credits. There's over 3,000 incentives and tax credits that could be available to you as a small business owner. The challenge is which ones are applicable. And at adp.com/tax credit services, you can engage with an expert that, based on what you do and who you're hiring and what state that you're in or jurisdiction that you operate in, they can help you identify which ones that you would be eligible for to then inject some capital into your business, regardless of what's happening from an economic standpoint, to then help you go out there and address some of the other topics, which are talent acquisition and retention, and how do you leverage the right technology, either existing or some of the emerging tech that can help you scale your business.
Hmm. Well, I can tell you now, I didn't know about that. That sounds fabulous. 3,000? I mean, you've got, what is it? ADP.com/.
Tax credits.
Tax credits. Okay, there you go. So talent, in this day and age, what about talent, Erron? What are you hearing back on that?
Yeah, I hear that finding skilled, and I can't emphasize that word enough, skilled talent is, where a lot of organizations, small, medium, and large, are all kind of fighting for a, smaller pool today. And how do small business clients get after that population as fast, if not faster, than some of the larger organizations? And how do you retain your employees? So if you're to start to break that up into two different categories, attracting and then retaining, the first one is around, leveraging some of the technology like marketplace or employment marketplace tools, where we partner in our run bundles that you can find a qualified candidate in a day. And that's leveraging machine learning and AI, that based on the profile of employee that you're looking for, it'll run its algorithm against the entire resume database and surface to you a diluted, kind of list of employees that you can engage with to find that right type of skilled talent. And then once you find them, well, how do I secure them? Not just the new ones, but the existing ones. And that's usually in a couple different ways. First one is I got to make sure I offer competitive wages. And as a small business owner, I'm not sure in yesteryear, they always had the greatest visibility into what the average wages are in the open market. And, one of the cool things about today's technology is its ability to take data and make it digestible. And at ADP, we've created this compensation benchmarking tool, which aggregates, anonymizes, and presents to a small business owner an opportunity with a couple clicks of a button to see what the average construction worker in the state of New York or Florida or California, especially with all the remote work, what the average compensation is. So that way you can go out there and ensure that you're not overpaying, which could take away from your profit margins, and you're not underpaying, which might put you at a disadvantage of acquiring that top talent.
Well, from what you tell me, I'm going to get on this thing myself and have a look because it'll be interesting to see what states are lower or higher or medium than others. And you wonder if there's an influx of people moving there. But this study we talked about before, the Pulse study,
Mhm.
it found that 44% of small businesses surveyed, they are focusing on training and skills development as a top workforce priority. But 21% are focusing on the pay equity that you touched on, or pay transparency efforts. So it's pretty important what ADP is offering there. Trends, let's talk about trends. What are you seeing small business owners doing now? The way things are. I mean, the survey says that 23% are investing in labor saving or enhancing technology. So are we talking AI?
I think we're talking about a variety of different technologies. We actually have seen close to 40% increase in demand for our time and attendance application, which, if you think about one of the largest expenses for any business, including a small business, is labor. And ironically enough, there's going to be a legislative change that is going to take place on July 1st, where if you're a small business owner and you have a salaried employee that today is exempt from overtime, well, on July 1st, based on how much you pay that individual and the increase in that salary range, the Department of Labor is changing the FLSA requirement to be exempt as an employee. So
Mm.
if you think about you waking up on July 1st as a small business owner, you're going to have to make a decision as to whether or not you increase potentially that employee's salary so that way they remain exempt, or do I convert them to a hourly employee? And then institute infrastructure like a time and attendance application that can monitor how many hours they're working, what overtime hours they could be eligible for, so that way you can control one of your greatest expenses in labor.
Well, this is going to cause a bit of a storm, I think. I mean, small business owners and their contributions, they're critical, Erron, to the economy. I mean, how can small business owners adapt, do you think, to all this changing business environment? I mean, we're experiencing some harrowing times right now.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, this past year alone, there were over 200 HR, payroll, tax, both federal and state changes that have taken place. And I mentioned earlier that we have over 150,000 and over small businesses that trust ADP to help them navigate this. And 50% of them have been referred by the accountant community. And it just speaks to some of the best practices for the small business owners out there to surround yourself and create an ecosystem of the right partners, advisors, and vendors that can keep you up to date, can be proactive with what those compliance changes are before they actually hit the market. So that way you can make the appropriate accommodations to not only survive, but continue to thrive in today's environment. So outside of just having a really good CPA or advisor, along with a organization like an ADP that can help you, there's
Mm-hmm.
also some additional resources, adp.com/spark. We have some great articles about what is being considered in both small and large businesses. And then we also have our own research institute, which outside of just the market pulse survey that you and I have been talking about, Mark, there's a tremendous amount of research that we do in both the small business arena, large organizations that we publish on a daily basis at adpri.org, where that's still slightly reactive. So I'll just go back to that other best practice of making sure that you get the right people in your corners that can help you stay ahead of those changes so they don't disrupt your business.
Well, I tell you what, ADP is a large company, isn't it? I mean, look at all these wonderful things you're helping with. So listen, guys, a lot of business owners listen to my podcast. So I want to get this clear, then we got to get off. But there are three distinct things you should go to, all right? Just find the time with a cup of joe. adp.com/spark. And just briefly, please, Erron, that is going to give us what again?
That'll give you insight to articles and some of the legislative changes that are taking place or being considered to take place.
Okay. All right. So that's the legal side. That's the governmental side of it. adp.com/tax or taxes.
Tax credits.
Tax credits. That was the other word. All right. And the brief on that?
Brief on that is if you're interested in seeing which incentive or tax credit out of the 3,000 that is applicable to your business, you can go to that URL, adp.com/tax credits, and engage with one of our experts that can help you navigate that environment.
Fabulous. And last but not least, that ADP AI
Yeah,
forward slash .org, was it?
It's adpri.org, but I'll give you one more, Mark, and that's adp.com/small businesses. And that'll help you with kind of compiling everything that we discussed today and more for your small business community out there today.
Oh, that's fabulous. Thank you so much. That's very helpful. And guys, well, you do a great job, Erron. We appreciate it. Erron Stark, folks, he's the Vice President and General Manager of Small Business Services of ADP. Thank you, Erron. Have a wonderful week.
You do as well, Mark. Thanks so much.